Look at this pole vaulter suspended above the bar at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Imagine two identically talented athletes facing this exact high-stakes moment. One freezes under the lights, completely choking. The other enters a seamless flow state, clearing the bar with ease. Since the stadium, the equipment, and the training are identical, the variable that determines the winner is internal, the specific way the brain interprets the demands of the moment before the vault even begins. We can map that psychological process using this scale. It represents the theory of challenge and threat states in athletes, or TCSSA. Inside your brain, there is a constant subconscious weighing of the external demands you face against the internal resources you believe you possess. When your brain calculates that the perceived demands outweigh your available resources, you enter a threat state. Your body defaults to survival mode. Anxiety spikes, muscles tense, and your visual attention violently narrows. But when that appraisal shifts toward your resources, you enter a challenge state. Your cardiovascular system becomes highly efficient, pumping more blood. Your brain stops viewing anxiety as a barrier and utilizes it as high-octane performance fuel. This internal scale is modular. Performance depends on learning to manually shift these weights, tilting the brain away from a survival response and toward a state of challenge. The first step is understanding why those demands feel so paralyzing in the first place. We artificially inflate the weight of a moment by obsessing over the final outcome, demanding perfection, and fearing the judgment of the crowd. Look at legendary football coach Nick Saban. He built a dynasty at Alabama by deploying a philosophy called the process, a tactical system designed to slash those massive psychological demands. Watch how this works on our scale. The process dictates that you ignore the championship and the scoreboard. You shatter that massive, paralyzing outcome block into tiny, manageable 7-second units, the length of a single football play. Once the weight of the final outcome is gone, you have to confront the second major driver of heavy demands, the fear of failure, which freezes our ability to make rapid decisions. Spanx founder Sara Blakely neutralizes that fear by completely reframing the definition of failure. Instead of viewing it as falling short of a goal, she defines failure as a lack of effort, the failure to try new things. Kobe Bryant operated on a similar principle. His brain refused to process failure as an endpoint. To him, missing a shot was just necessary objective data used to calibrate the next attempt. By shrinking your execution window to 7 seconds and redefining failure as a lack of effort, you effectively strip the crushing weight away from the demands. With the demands neutralized, we have to look at the other side of the equation. How do you rapidly accumulate and verify your internal resources before an event even begins? The PETTLEP model builds these resources by leveraging functional equivalence, the biological reality that your brain activates the same motor regions during a vivid image as it does during physical execution. Notice how these neural pathways light up. PETTLEP requires you to mentally simulate the exact physical sensations, environment, task, timing, learning stage, emotion, and perspective of your performance. Because the brain engages the same sensory systems used in live competition, this exercise preloads motor patterns and builds process-based confidence. You are creating resources out of thought. To keep that internal pool of resources constantly full, music producer Rick Rubin utilizes what he calls a beginner's mind. This creates a state of connected detachment, gathering a massive volume of inputs without immediate judgment, so you have an abundance of options ready for any scenario. Combining deep, systematic neurological rehearsal with an abundant mindset ensures your internal resources will always vastly outweigh the immediate task. Look at our appraisal scale now. When a process-focused mindset dismantles the demands and deep visualization stacks the resources, the scale tips decisively in your favor. This mental shift immediately becomes biological reality. Your blood vessels dilate. Your body is pulled out of threat-based survival mode, increasing physical capacity and flow. You trigger the release of beneficial hormones like oxytocin and DHEA. Your cardiovascular efficiency peaks, and your decision-making accelerates. The high-stakes pressure hasn't actually disappeared. The crowd is still there. The risk is still real. But your brain is now biochemically reinterpreting the symptoms of anxiety as pure performance energy. Performing under pressure follows a learnable equation. By systematically adjusting the appraisal of your demands and your resources, you dictate your body's biological response to the moment.